Hi, y'all. I know it's been a hot second since I came on, but tonight I am coming on to talk to you about healing after heartache. And this is such a broad topic, I feel like, and you can kind of approach it from many different angles. But I'm going to approach it from the space in which I am doing it right now and just kind of go about it as a testimonial type of deal. And so, anyways, as most of us have known, and as most of us go through life, we experience some form of heartbreak. And you will always be surprised about where it comes from, because it's not like you experience heartbreak from just breaking up with people. You can experience heartbreak from friends, family, and losing loved ones, obviously, like people you're in a romantic connection with. And so, over the past year, honestly, if I'm real with y'all, over the past like 5 years, I have literally almost had a traumatic like reset in my life. And most everyone in my life, as far as like friends and relationship type energy goes, they're all new people. I have nobody that I can't go back and be like, oh, I grew up with them. I've known them since I was 10. I known them since I was 12. Most every single person in my life that is not blood relation to me are people that I have met recently within the last 5 to 6 years or whatever. And so what I noticed is I moved away from my hometown when I was 23, I believe, 23 or 22. Either way, when I moved away, I started to realize that like a lot of the friendships and things that I was holding on to, they were just things that were familiar to me. They were people that were familiar to me. They were people that I was used to, and that I just need to go and I need to go be there with them. That's what I've always done. They call, I come, blah, blah, blah. I'm bored. I'm going to call this person, hit them up. But when I moved and God kind of isolated me, not kind of, he did. I was in a completely different space. This was my first time leaving home. And my husband at that time was being deployed. And so in his deployment, clearly he had to go do all kinds of trainings and stuff. And so I was in a new city, a new town, a new house, everything by myself, no family, no friends. And so in that space, I would try to reach out to the people that I knew back then, and it would never work. I just couldn't connect with them. It was like, their conversations didn't look the same. And little did I know, God was setting me up for the journey of my life right there. Because within that, I received little messages bit by bit. And then I had those friends. One of them would come, she came to visit me out in Kansas where I lived. And when she was there, I just noticed how envious she was of everything I was doing. Oh, okay, you think you're better. Oh, you did this, not like little snarky comments the whole time. And if you know me in real life, I'm not a person to act better than anybody. I'm super humble and chill, like literally. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to describe myself. I spend so much time dimming my light so that I wouldn't come off like that. And so hearing that, it would just made me see that. And then when she returned back home, the other friend, which we all kind of hung out together, I actually made those two friends, but nevertheless, whatever. She would call and be like, oh, so-and-so is saying this and that and this and that. It was just always drama. And so I would be like, okay. But then the other girl would call and be like, no, I didn't say that. Why is she saying this? And it would just be back and forth. Come to find out, they were both lying and like being weird and hanging out at school. It was just a whole situation. But it was God ultimately revealing all of these things to me. And like I said, little did I know that that was just a setup for me to learn some of the biggest lessons of my life. So fast forward to now, in my now life, I have had to walk away from people, because even right there, I still held on to some of the people from my past and all of this. And I reconnected with some of them. And I experienced so many betrayals. One of them literally tried to sleep with my child's father, and we were in a relationship at that time. And so I'm like, I have seen betrayal on so many different angles and so many different ends, and it has been disheartening and heartbreaking. But that brings me to where I'm at today. Despite heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, I realized as I sat with myself this past year, God pulled me into a space And if you are attached to me in any way and resonate with my story, then I know you will understand this, because it is exactly where you are, or where you are going, or where you just came out of. So what I'm going to say is, God pulled me into a space where I was isolated. And when I say isolated, I mean isolated. I had my phone the driest that it's ever been, unless people needed something, which is what it is. But as far as friends and invitations out and this and that, phone calls, how are you, that type of stuff, nothing. My phone was drier than it's ever been in my life. And so isolation. I lost my job. I didn't lose it. Let me speak clearly. I quit my job because I started a business, but I invested everything I had into this business, and my money left, like all of these things. I was in pure isolation and I lost everything. I had a straight up Job season. Like, I'm not kidding. But within that, God reminded me of every single heartache, every single betrayal, every single piece of pain and suffering that I had gone through over this decade, over this past 5 to 10 years. Every single thing. And when he was reminding me of that, I would cry, but it was like it was coming out of my body, but in a way of release and growth and lessons, because I was able to run it back to remember, where did we start? How did we get here? How did this go? How did I become that person? What made me do that? What made me do this? How come I accepted that? I saw who she was. She showed me that years ago, but I kept putting my hand on the same stove, on the same iron on that stove, because I thought it wasn't going to burn me anymore, because I had changed. So I expected that they had changed. And baby, that's not how change works. Just because you're changing and you're doing all this work, you can go back, but that don't mean that they're doing it. And so that heartbreak, that heartache, that pain, that betrayal, it all was my ultimate stepping stones to a healing and to give a testimony to other people that can change their lives and to help them get into another situation. And if you are following me on social media, on Facebook, I just posted a video that said God is doing a new thing, because he is. And I know you see these videos all over the internet, all over TikTok, all over YouTube, blah, blah, blah. God is doing a new thing. He's doing this and that, these prophetic words. That's fine. Whatever. I'm not going to knock that. But what I'm going to say is, God moves when you move. God moves when you're ready for movement. And it's not saying you got to work like crazy, but what I just went through took me being vulnerable with myself, being honest with myself, and really finally looking at some things that I tried to shove down. Within this season, I had to really learn things that I didn't want to learn about me. And it broke me then, but it built me up for now. So what I thought was breaking me really ultimately were just pieces that God was using to repurpose me. I am recycled. You know what I'm saying? I am a bunch of old events that are now built to create something new and beautiful, and that is able to be used in a new way. And so God is doing a new thing. God is moving in a new way. That heartache leads to healing if you let it. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep moving on, and find the lesson in every single thing you go through, because I promise you it's there and it's waiting to be discovered, so that you can then use your testimony to go back and pull somebody else out of it. So that's all I wanted to say tonight. Peace be upon you. Namaste.